It's gonna be my second time voting, so I'm ready for it.
I'm going for Trump.
I think Trump's gonna win.
I feel like it's leaning towards Trump for sure.
It sucks because I don't know what's going on. The world is a mess.
Trump or Kamala Harris?
Donald Trump.
I don't vote.
I have to go Trump, man. Yeah. I have to. Yeah, Trump. I gotta go Trump.
I'm running for Trump, so.
I'm supporting Trump.
It's like they just pushed her in.
Now I vote more for what fits me better as a person rather than voting for the black person.
I would vote for Trump. Gas wasn't this high when Trump was our president. Food wasn't this high. I'm going for Trump.
Trump for the win.
Tell me why.
I can't really call that right now, but I just feel like she's not good for president.
I mean, Trump looked like he got it in the bag right now.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
Who you support?
I support Trump.
What's going on, guys? So we got to talk about Don Lemonhead. Okay, this guy, the fired CNN anchor. Okay, so this guy, he has his own little podcast, the Don Lemon Show. Okay, it's all over the X platform and YouTube, and he was interviewing folks. You saw the intro, and he was shocked, stunned that black folks wasn't having none of this Kamala Harris, let's vote for her, she's a black woman, yada, 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 so on and so forth. These folks were not having it. They were talking about the fact that they did that with Obama. They weren't going to vote based off of somebody's race, price is too high, etc. And it was shocking to me, like, you talking about him being stunned. I'm stunned that these dum-dums haven't realized yet that people care about how much their rent costs, that people care whether or not they have extra money to pay for snacks for themselves and their kids, whether or not they can go to the movie theater and buy popcorn, or maybe just struggle and maybe not even decide to go at all to the movies because it's too expensive to bring their entire family, whether or not they're going to keep their Disney Plus subscription or if they're going to have gas money to get to work. Like, these people are dumb. They keep trying to straddle this whole, the economy is great. It's great. It's great. You shouldn't be saying nothing about the economy being great, which Don Lemon tried to do, and is not working, guys. The prices of everything is too damn high. And Jen Psaki over here is interviewing Lemon. They're both kind of like trying to cope with this. It's a pretty hilarious conversation. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Ask you about your trip traveling across the country, because you were traveling across the country on the way to Chicago where you were, and we'll talk about that too. You interviewed a lot of people.
I did.
What are some of the things or trends that surprised you about some of those conversations?
Well, I don't know if it was surprising, but it was certainly eye-opening to hear so many people, even people of color and women, saying that they are going to support Donald Trump. I'm not quite sure that the polls are accurate as it relates to the tightening of the polls and who's going to support whom. And, right-wing media,
the polls are not accurate because Donald Trump is slated to win in a landslide. Guys, remember, Hillary Clinton was up by upwards of 10 points, sometimes like 12 points, sometimes like 14 points in 2016. And Teflon Don still managed to win. That's all I'm going to say about that. So don't believe the polls, guys. Don't get discouraged if you see, Harris is up 3, Harris is up 5. It don't matter. Stay the course. Remember the mission. Vote Trump, vote early, and then drag everybody else along to vote. All during that time when you already done voted, get that out of the way and focus on other people after you get your vote out of the way.
when I released my content, they said, oh, Don Lemon was shocked or Don Lemon was surprised at the answers that he got. But there were a lot of black men, Jen, who said that they were supporting Donald Trump simply because he gave them a stimulus check. He gave them $1,200 back when he was president. They did not somehow remember that the current president also gave them a stimulus check, except that his name wasn't on it. So I had to remind them time after time that the check did not come from Donald Trump, that it came from a Democratic Congress, and he actually slowed it up in order to have his name on the check. So
Donald Trump actually, he wanted to give the stimulus checks because, well, he didn't really have much of a choice, but he wanted to give the stimulus checks. He actually wanted to give more money than the Democrats wanted. That's the funny thing about this. He actually wanted to give more money. It's true that he did delay the stimulus checks a little bit, but it's because he wanted to give more money, not because he didn't want to do it at all.
They got the check, and his name was on it. They automatically thought that it came directly from Donald Trump, which I think is good marketing. It's the same as he does for buildings around the country, especially in New York. He doesn't actually own them, but he puts his name on them, and it makes people think that he owns them, and it actually makes them think that he is richer and bigger and more benevolent than he is.
Was there anything, what did they think about Harris? Did they have anything to say about her?
They did have, listen, it depends on where you are. We went to a number of different battleground states in Pennsylvania, Ohio.
In other words, no, nobody really had much to say, certainly not anything positive, but let's keep going.
We were in Michigan, Indiana, on our way, obviously, Illinois, on our way to Chicago. And it sort of depended on where you were. Pennsylvania, well, I shouldn't say Pennsylvania, I should say Philadelphia, was a bit more liberal, and the answers to the questions about her and him were quite different. But for the most part, in Pittsburgh or in the Jersey Shore and in Atlantic City, in Ohio especially, many people did not know who she was. Right? They weren't familiar with her. So I think
that's because she's afraid of the press. She never answers any questions. Donald Trump is out here every day. He was just on a podcast today. Right? He keeps going to all these smaller influencers as well that are, you know, they have a lot of influence. They're not really that small, but you know what I'm saying? He's not on mainstream all the time. He is on mainstream, and he's going on like kind of these other influencers as well, whereas Kamala Harris is just hiding from everybody. She got an interview scheduled on Thursday. It's like, chick, like, what the hell's wrong with today? The previous day, it's been like 30 plus days. It's been almost 40 days when she could have been doing all kinds of interviews and all kinds of press events, all kinds of stuff. This is one of the reasons I think she's going to lose too, is because she's hiding under a rock. She's worried about getting all this money, you know, trying to keep that gravy train going with the money, but that doesn't necessarily translate to vote. So like the Democrats they've out fundraised the Republicans in every election, I believe, like since I was born, and they've lost plenty of them. George Bush won twice, and the underdog Donald Trump won against Hillary Clinton. So the money doesn't work. The money is not all that you need in order to win elections, especially the general election.
I think she has to reintroduce herself to the public. But for him, I think that they thought that he's better for the economy, and that again, that he gave them, that he brought money into the community, and or that he was on black people's side. And so, listen, I wasn't surprised by that. I've been doing this long enough to know that you never know where people are going to fall, how they're going to vote. That's their own personal prerogative. But I think it's important for them to understand and to go into the voting booth with some knowledge, that they're informed as an electorate. And
well, I mean, you can be informed by going to the grocery store, going to the gas station, trying to apply for a mortgage loan, looking at your local neighborhood, if you're especially in like a more of the poor neighborhoods, seeing how many migrants they got over there, seeing how many resources they're giving to them. And you've been sitting up here begging for it, in some cases, your whole life, 20, 30, 40 years, and then all of a sudden some people show up from South America and different parts of Asia and different parts of Africa, and all of a sudden you at the bottom of the list still in terms of prioritization. It's easy for people to see if somebody cares about them or not. Like when Trump said black jobs, he meant what he said. A lot of people's jobs and resources that are black are being taken, and Hispanic as well.
And for all the reasons that they were telling me, the information was all false. And they didn't understand the correct reasons why they might vote for him.
Yeah, it's
let's
a
list
reminder.
those reasons. Let's go into
you
details.
called Donald Trump a racist on television. You're talking to all these people out there. You still feel that way?
Yes, I think I was the first person to finally say it, and I think I was the first person to say that he was lying because people were afraid to say it. And I said, why don't we just call it what it is? Why don't we call it a lie? Why don't we call it racism? And I wasn't just saying it because it was an opinion. Anytime I said something like that on television, I backed it up with facts, and I gave people examples of the reason.
I mean, I would have to go back and to see everything that Lemonhead here had to say, but Donald Trump has a long history with black Americans that directly contradicts this whole racist narrative.
I now want to bring forth a friend who has, well, he is deceptive in that his social style is of such. One can miss his seriousness, and his commitment for the success is beyond argument. When we opened this Wall Street project and we talked about it, he gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. And beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to rest to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who's an effective builder of building for the builder people. Last year he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so this, a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
I will tell you, a large percentage of the people, and especially in construction, that are building these great jobs are black and minorities, and I'm very proud of it. We have close to 25%, and I think the number's going up, and they do a great job. There are no better builders than we have in New York, and a big percentage of that is black and minority folks. So I just want to thank everybody in the room for being here. I look forward to some questions, and then I don't know how we're ever going to leave this building today, because if you look outside, it is terrible, but we'll figure a way. There's always a way, and thank you, Jesse, and congratulations.
Vice presidential candidate in mind?
Well, I really haven't gotten quite there yet.
I guess it's just
Oprah. I love Oprah. Oprah would always be my first choice.
Oprah.
Oprah, your competitor, right?
Oprah's a competitor.
You know what?
No
I'll tell you, she's really a great woman, though. She is a terrific woman. She's somebody that's very special. I have not even thought about it. I guess we'll see. We'll see. Maybe that's part of the whole process.
Would she be someone, I mean, kidding aside, that you might think about?
If she'd do it, she'd be fantastic. I mean, she's popular, she's brilliant, she's a wonderful woman. I mean, if she'd ever do it, I don't know that she'd ever do it. She's got,
you'd ask her.
She'd be sort of like me. I mean, I have a lot of things going. She's got a lot of things going.
What a ticket
that would be. That would be a pretty good ticket, but she's a very exceptional woman.
He wasn't considered racist until he decided to run as a Republican and started saying stuff like he was going to build the wall and things like that, because they automatically associate conservatism and being a Republican in America with racism and white supremacy. That's more of a Don Lemon thing or up here thing for a lot of people rather than an actual reality.
And that I was saying those things. Of course, I think he's racist. All you have to do is look at his rhetoric. All you have to do is look at his track record. And you know.
Dude, Ben Carson blackmail was on Donald Trump's cabinet. What are you talking about? Like, they were the only people, you know, that in the debates, Donald Trump went at everybody, and Ben Carson, he did not go at. He left Ben alone. Him and Ben are cool. I don't understand these people. How can you be like racist and have like so many black friends, associates that you like work with and admire, and you publicly state so all the time? You hire them. Like, it doesn't make any sense. When you're racist, you don't hire them. You don't befriend them. You don't associate with them. You disassociate from them. You do the opposite. You don't hire them. This guy makes no sense.
Anyone can see that. Go on.
No, keep going, keep going.
So, I mean, anyone can see that. And so I don't think that was odd or something that was bold. Yeah, so I do think that he's racist. Is it surprising to me that so many African Americans are supporting him? A bit. But I also think that people tend to romanticize the past. And even though by most metrics, the economy is doing better and it's on fire, what people do is they vote with prices. They vote with their wallets.
Hello.
So maybe the economy is better. Both can be true. The economy can be better, but prices are higher and people have less money and they have less resources to put towards those high prices and to feed their families. So, you know, we talk a lot about low information voters. I like to call them low partisan information voters, because many of the people I spoke to were not sitting in front of a television every single day and every single night, following every micro breaking news development about Donald Trump and about what's happening in politics. But they were quite aware of what they were doing for their families, how much or how little money they had in their pockets. And I think that they vote on that and not necessarily what they see on television.
Guys, you would think these people live under a rock or something. People have been saying prices are too high for ages. Like, Kamala Harris herself said prices were too high. Like, this is not a new and novel thing. A lot of people know that the news is fake. They say anything. They lie and they gaslight. They try to amp up stories and amplify things, whether it makes sense or not. A lot of people know that. Even low information people know that a lot of the time. So they don't always care. They don't always have the time to watch all day, every day, to keep up with all the mainstream media lies and radical leftist stuff that's going on. A lot of people aren't necessarily high information voters necessarily, but like Lemonade here says, yes, they do know how much their rent costs, how much groceries, gas, their electric bill. They know whether or not they keep getting loan application keeps getting rejected due to credit, even if they have good credit because the interest rates are so damn high. You know, they know all of this stuff. They don't always know what the hell Don Lemon's opinion on how racist Donald Trump is. Like, I'm sure everybody's heard that, but that doesn't mean everybody believes that. Some people have been around long enough to know that this guy has so many different black associates, or at least he used to. He still does, but he doesn't have as many because he came out and said he wanted to be president. Then a bunch of people abandoned them. But Don Lemon, he mentioned, I always back these things up with facts. Well, at that moment, Lemon, you did not. Like, you just kind of threw things out there. It's kind of like their go-to. Well, hey, I know that prices are high as hell. I know you can't really afford to live. Okay, you're broke. You're broke. I get it. However, he's racist. This strategy is not gonna work, guys. It's not gonna work anymore. Lemon just said black men seem to be the bane of the Democrat Party. They are bleeding black men. They're not even trying anymore. All of these insults, they're just low information voters. Everything they're saying is not true. Trump did get the stimulus checks. He just said that Trump's name was on them, and he tries to discredit him for that. You can't discredit the man for what he accomplished just because there was also a Democrat Congress. Trump could veto any and every damn thing that he wanted to. He could have vetoed it if he wanted to, but he didn't. If Joe Biden passes something that Republicans put forward, you have to say that Joe Biden is the one who passed it. You have to say that. It literally happened. So the same thing goes for Trump. You can't just discredit everything. He passed the First Step Act, right? For criminal justice reform, something that Democrats, people like Obama hadn't even done. Okay, Ice Cube's platinum plan. Donald Trump is on the cusp of passing a bunch of stuff related to that. But these radical leftists want to always argue that, he's racist. They have nothing else, guys. They have Project 2025, J6, racism, and they just go around a hamster wheel circling all of those issues over and over and over again. Dictator on day one. They keep saying the same things. He's a rapist. All of these things are things that they've tried really, really hard to label Trump with, including Hitler. And then they act like the dude can't punch back. No, he needs to punch back. He needs to punch back twice as hard, 10 times as hard, 100,000 million times harder on Harris. And I can't wait to see her ass get body slammed in this damn debate. It's going to be brutal, guys. This might be like the end of her career. Joe Biden's career is over. At least he had time. He's a little older. But Kamala Harris, this might be it. Career ended at 60. I don't feel sorry for her at all because this lady is clearly a chameleon. She's power hungry. She needs to be destroyed. And I'm glad Lemon's confidence, he doesn't seem like the smug, confident POS that he normally is. I'm glad his confidence shaken, is broken. He's wondering if this election is over. And I can tell you right now, Lemon, if you happen to somehow, some way see this video, yeah, it's absolutely over. We're going to elect Trump. We're going to make America great again. And I can't wait to see people like you and Jen Psaki and Van Jones and Rollins Martin bitch ass cry live on television, your podcast, wherever the hell you're going to be. It's going to be glorious. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
Excuse me, but I've got something to tell you first. Thank you for ruining my life.
Ashley!
What did you do?
Everybody's always blaming me for everything.